Ross and Denny. Is it over?
No.
So explain to what happened.
So, of course, we've all seen Ross and Denny be getting into it since Gateway. And Denny kind of just doored him, shoved him up the wall, or up the track into the wall Sunday, and collected the 4. Ross was out of the race. The 4 was essentially out of the race. Yeah. Denny went on to win a race and then get disqualified. So even if Denny didn't get
he finished behind Ross in the bad thing.
Even if Denny didn't get disqualified, I don't think that it would have been over. Because I don't think Denny would have thought it was over. However, it should have been. But I think Denny is... I don't think he's going to go in there and wreck him anymore. I don't think he's going to go in there and, you know... I don't think if they're at Martinsville, I don't think he's going to drive it in 3-4 car lengths too deep and just shove him into the fence. I don't think he's going to turn him at Indy. I don't think he's going to dump him into the fucking bus stop at Watkins Glen. I don't think he's going to block him at Bristol. But he's going to make life difficult for Ross Chastain for many years to come. As long as Denny Hamlin is in the Cup Series, I think he and Ross are going to have problems. I don't think they're going to wreck each other, but I don't think either of them are going to give him any space on the racetrack. So I don't think Denny did anything wrong at Pocono. He was racing hard. He didn't wreck him. He just didn't give him an inch. Said, hey, either you're going to get out of it or you're going to wreck. And Ross decided not to get out of it and drove himself into the fence. There was a little contact there between the 11 and the 1, but Ross, if he wanted to, could have let Denny have the position, in my opinion, but didn't. He ended up driving himself into the fence and wrecking himself. In my opinion, that was 70% hard racing, 30% I owe you one. If the 11 car goes in there and wrecks him this week, I won't have an issue with it, but I just don't see it happening. I think Denny's just going to kind of be a pain in his ass, kind of like he was at Gateway. I don't think he's going to go out there and wreck him again.
The only problem I have with Denny, with what he did with Ross, is the fact that he did it on a restart in front of the fucking of the field.
And that's what I was saying. I don't think Denny wrecked him. Like,
no, he didn't.
He didn't wreck him on purpose. He just raced him harder than he would anybody else at that point in time.
Yeah, I don't think he does that to Chase Elliott. I don't think he does that to Kyle Busch. I don't think he does that to
Brad Keselowski, Austin Dillon, fucking Cody Ware.
Anybody.
It wouldn't. Yeah, he raced him harder than he would anybody else.
Yeah, if it's anybody else, I don't think Denny does what he does. The only problem I have is that he knew Ross was there and he knew what he was going to do. He wasn't going to give him an inch, and he pushed him up the track. And knowing Ross, he probably wouldn't have known that Ross wasn't going to lift right there. Not saying, I wouldn't have done it myself. I'm just saying. And it cost Kevin Harvick a whole bunch of points. Not saying it matters in the long run, because it really doesn't, because Kevin Harvick's going to have to win a race. But he was having a top 5 run. He was having a hell of a run. That 4 car has been constantly on the upswing since, probably Gateway after he wrecked. He's been on he's been pretty fast the past couple weeks, or about a month or two. So the only problem I have is what he did, and it affected other drivers. Now, it was probably 2 or 3 inches between Ross clipping Chase Elliott and Chase Elliott going head first into the wall, coming off a 1, and then we have a 10-12 car pileup.
If only.
And and at that point, we probably had a big problem with what Denny Hamlin had, because
I wouldn't have.
Because when Ross wrecked Denny at Gateway, it just involved Denny. It didn't involve anybody else. And then when Ross wrecked Denny at Atlanta, it didn't really knock anybody else out. Yes, it caused Brad Keselowski to spin out as well, because Daniel Suarez had the ARCA brakes with him. But it did not take anybody else out of the race. So if Denny Hamlin does what he does, and Ross clips Chase Elliott and turns him hard into the wall coming off of 1, and then it probably affects 4 or 5 other guys at least, then that's a problem, because that has nothing to do with any of those other guys. And you're taking into your account that you're trying to fuck somebody else over from what they did, but then you're including other people that had nothing to do with y'all's two situation. So I understand what Denny did. He's lucky that it only affected Kevin Harvick and nobody else, because it could have been a bigger issue. Do I think it's over? Yes, I do think it's over. I think Denny proved his point. He put Ross pretty much into the wall. Now, I know Ross could have lifted, but I do think Denny is not the driver who he'll get you once, but he ain't going to get you twice. What's up, Highline Nation? Did you enjoy that video? Well, make sure to subscribe to this channel, and if you want the full version of each episode, download the Spotify app and find the Highline and give us a follow, as well as follow us on Instagram for more behind-the-scenes content. Stop beating around the bush.